Hello, and welcome to the Finding the Unicorn in You podcast. I am your host, Dr. Jaime Raygoza, here to help you unlock your unique potential and thrive into your career. Get ready to explore inspiring stories and practical strategies that will empower you not only to prevent burnout, but also achieve sustainable success. Let's dive in. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Finding the Unicorn in You. Today, I have a very special and amazing individual who is the founder of SoofCRM, a boutique consultancy that helps small to mid-sized businesses optimize their CRM systems and scale efficiently. Before launching SoofCRM, she worked for large corporations like Wells Fargo and Rivian, where she gained extensive experience managing complex systems. Now she's passionate about simplifying these systems for growing businesses, helping them create sustainable strategies that support both scalable growth and professional success. So without further ado, we have Soof. Hi.
Hi, Dr. Jaime. Thank you so much for having me.
Super excited for you to be on here. And I'm a testament that you are simply amazing. So just wanted to say that for everybody to know, she is very good at what she does. So for people that don't know what CRM is, and we can dive a little bit more on your background, tell us a little bit about what you do and how you got into this.
Absolutely. Sure. CRM is always something that I make sure to explain when I'm first talking about what I do. So CRM is customer relationship management. Typically, that's the system that you use at your company within your business to track your communication with your clients. So that could be anything from meeting people at different events or engaging with them online to the whole sales process with them, engaging them in your marketing activities, being your whole sales funnel, making sure that they have all the resources that your salespeople are supposed to give them, making sure that the deal is progressing as intended, all that kind of stuff, quoting them, making sure that you're getting the right quote with the right prices out to them, closing the deal, hopefully, and then into the service part of it. Once you do have a client, how are you tracking their inquiries, their customer service questions, resolving their issues as needed? And so having all of information in one system is really helpful in getting a 360 view on your customers. Now, different businesses will do this in different ways. So how did I get into this? I started at Wells Fargo and I was in the foreign exchange part of the bank, working in the corporate investment banking group. So not even really related to CRM at all, but at some point there was a project that came to my team that said that we needed to move into a CRM. We needed to get all of the paper out of the file cabinets, digitize all of it, move it into a system. And because I was like one of the younger people in the office, they're like, "No, if you can do systems, put me on the project." And that's my first introduction into CRM, specifically Salesforce, which is the big CRM player in the industry. And so that's how I got into all of this. And like I was saying, businesses will use CRMs for different things. So at Wells Fargo, we were doing a lot of regulatory checks and making sure that, customers were in compliance before they could start trading FX or other investment products. And so then I moved to Rivian, and then we were doing totally different things because we're selling cars and charging systems. But again, every business typically will need a sort of system to keep track of their customers. And so that's what I became an expert in, totally by accident, by the way. But yeah, that's how I got to where I am right now.
A lot of my listeners are entrepreneurs or thinking of opening up their own business. How important is it for them to have an effective CRM?
It's important. I do want to say it depends on your goals, right? Because if you're a sole entrepreneur and you have a few clients that kind of keep you going and you can manage them all in your head, great. But if you have dreams of growth, either growing your team or growing the business, reaching different markets, offering different products or making different offerings, offering different services, and you have any sort of dream of growth, again, growing your team, right? When you move out of your head, that's when you need a system. And people will typically start with like Excel, and that's okay. There's so many great tools out there, and there's so much that you can do and integrate and make like mindlessly easy outside of Excel. It is important. It's hard to convince people to move out of their head. But once they do, there's so much value add. There really is.
So full disclosure for listeners, when I met Soof, first of all, I was super ignorant. I didn't know what a CRM was. So I was like trying to keep up and I was like, yeah, I think I know what she's talking about. And then not knowing that I was that person in Excel and I was growing too fast from liking and I outgrew my Excel super fast. So that's why I contracted Soup so she can help me with that. But it is very hard. And even if like you are like by yourself and you're planning on just staying like not even expanding, it's still
Mhm.
okay for you to lose clients because lack of follow-up, because
Yep.
you forgot to send that email. And it's so easy to just get lost in the mix of things because you meet so many new people and
Mhm.
thing.
Right. I've stopped trying to convince people that they need a CRM because it's like, obviously she's going to say that. But once you can quantify that in dollars lost or potential clients that maybe you've made angry or made ignored or whatever. Yeah. Once you have a dollar amount, you can be like, this is what this is costing me. Then it becomes easier to understand the need for one. But yeah, it is. And, and I've also met so many people who are like, well, I can keep track of everything in my head. So I'm like, okay, there's no convincing you, but people who understand what a CRM can do for you and anybody who's interested in making data driven, informed decisions, your mind can give you like anecdata, is like what I like to call it. Like, oh, well, this is the trend. But once you have a dashboard or something that your CRM has created for you or that I've created for you in your CRM, and it gives you all of that information and you can make informed decisions of like, oh, this is where I'm getting my customers. This is where I'm losing my customers in the deal process. Anytime I include this product in my deal, I lose it or I win it. So what is my winning offering? What is once you have that data, it really empowers you to make smarter decisions and to act more efficiently. And people will say that smaller businesses don't need a CRM, but I think that that specifically is why smaller businesses benefit from
Mhm.
systems. You don't have all of that support. It's just you and your brain and maybe a couple other people and their brains. And yeah, sorry, my fangirl rant on CRM systems.
I love it. I love it. Like somebody's super passionate about it when they can speak about it forever.
I try to stop myself sometimes because people will ask me about it at parties, and I'm like, "Are we really talking about this right now? Because it could be a while."
Oh yeah. No, I feel you on that. And I think that was my selling point too, because I was creating this Excel sheet with so many different tabs, so many different cells, like rows and columns, because I was like, I'm trying to essentially create a database for myself with all these
Because
formulas.
you're like, "Oh, this data point is valuable. This data point is valuable.
Mhm.
I want to know how many of these I have."
Yes. And then you're like, hi, man, why don't you just use a system that already has all these bells and whistles? And then you're saving yourself time. You're saving yourself all the headaches. I'm like, yeah, she has a point.
Yeah, no, it was funny when you came up to me and you were like, "I think I need your help," and I was like, "Really?" I was like, "Well, yes, absolutely."
I was like, tail between my legs. I was like, yeah, I need you.
Oh, no. I think it's such a sign of strength when you ask for help, right? You say that to your clients, I'm sure. Like
Yeah.
asking for help, delegating is a sign of strength. And it's a sign of growth for you. Like the fact that you need somebody like me and you need a system means that you're growing. And that's an amazing thing. That's something for you to be celebrating. You're like, yeah, I'm moving into my system. I have this whole thing figured out. So I'm so happy to be working with you.
Likewise, likewise. And it's something that you definitely it does put you into perspective. And like you said, you're like, wow, I got to the point where I actually need this. Like, oh, pat on the back. We're good.
Mhm, exactly. Yeah. This is a great obstacle for you to have reached.
Yeah. And for listeners, don't wait like me until the very last second where you're losing clients. Like be preventative and
Yeah.
say, hey, let me get the system in place early on. Because if I would have done it when I just met you,
Oh my goodness. What?
I would have been set months ago. So
Yeah.
and the thing is that the longer you wait, the more data has to be switched over, and it's a mess. So definitely get it earlier on than not.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. Yeah, I have some lessons learned about that I'm excited to share later on.
I'm excited to hear them.
Yeah.
So let's go a little bit more on the personal side for you. So
Sure.
what was one and like in your career, like one significant challenge that you faced that you're like, wow, like this was hard to overcome, but I did it.
Can I just say every single day as an entrepreneur? Like I would love to tell my story into entrepreneurship because
Mhm.
if you had told me not a year ago, maybe 2 years ago,
Mhm.
that this is what I'm doing, I would look you dead in the face and say, like, "Are you effing kidding me?" So, like I was saying, I worked at Wells Fargo for a long time and I managed their Salesforce implementation. And I became the product owner and product manager for our CRM uh, inside the corporate investment banking. Again, mostly focused on regulatory and compliance data and all that kind of stuff. But I did that for a while. I felt at some point that I had hit my ceiling over there and started looking elsewhere. And that's when I found Rivian. For listeners who may not know Rivian, it is the electric vehicle company, automotive manufacturer based here in the United States. They manufacture their vehicles in Illinois. They are making adventurous EVs. So they have a pickup truck and an SUV, and their mission is to keep the world adventurous forever. It was something that me, as a nature loving millennial, really touched my heart. And I really wanted to make a difference or feel like I was making a difference after working for the big bad bank for a long time. And they were looking for a Salesforce product manager, and that's where I joined them. So I worked on their customer service team and created that whole customer service experience on the system side. Did the same thing for our sales team. So fleet sales, charging sales, all that kind of stuff. And then I worked there for almost 2 years. On January of 2023, I went on maternity leave. And in February of 2023, a week before I had my child, I was like 2 days before my due date, I got a text from my boss that was like, "Hey, can you please call me?" And I was like, "Sure." I was on my way to a doctor's appointment. So I call him and he's like, "Hey, there's changes in the company. Your role has been impacted. You no longer have a job here." And granted, there were like, before everyone was like, "Oh, that's illegal." They cut a lot of the product team. So it wasn't just pregnant women who
Yeah.
got, it was me and a bunch of others. I did get the severance and the maternity leave and all the benefits that I was promised. So we'll put that aside. It's a story for another day. Maybe I'll tell you over happy hour or something. I was like, "Oh, okay, sure, fine." I'm overdue at this point. I'm like very pregnant, about to have my kid. And I was like, I can't focus on this right now. Thankfully, so blessed. I'll probably say this 50 times. So let's have a partner that I can rely on. And he's like, you know what? That's fine. Do your maternity leave. We're covered financially. And when that time is up, then we'll reevaluate and see where we're at. And if you need to go back to work, then you'll go back to work. I'm like, okay, great. I was a stay at home mom for 5 to 6 months, I would say, because my package ended June 30th. So yeah, it was like 4 or 5 months. And then I was just being a stay at home mom, having fun with my kid. We'd go to parks during the day. Like it was a great time. Other than the newborn period, which was hard. Around July, I got a text from an old business colleague who had worked with me at Rivian in the past. She had also left to a different company. And she said, "Hey, I just joined this new EV startup. We have Salesforce and I need help." And I said, "Okay, I'm not really working right now." I gave her a million reasons why not. I said, "I'm not really working right now." Wasn't even technically certified in Salesforce because that's something you can get certified in. I had just done it for my whole career, but I never got like the papers. So wasn't certified, never did the independent thing. I was a new mom. I was like, "I could give you maybe 10 hours a week." She's like, "That's fine. That's all I need." And I was like, "Okay, are we, are we doing this?" So we went through, she showed me all the projects she needed to do. And I was like, "Okay, I could do this." I like put an estimate together, put a quote together. I was like, "All right, here you go." And she was like, "Yeah, looks great. Onboarding will be in touch with you next week and we'll get going." And I was like, "Oh, okay, great. Like, let's do this." And so I did that for 6 months, ended up getting certified and everything. And then I was thinking, you know what? If I can get a few more clients like this, like this could be my job. I don't have to go back to a traditional 9 to 5. I'd only worked W-2 corporate my whole life. And I was like, maybe I could do this. I officially started my business January of this year, so 2024. And I have since just been building frameworks and building the website and my marketing strategy and my networking strategy, which have gotten a front row seat to. I think, yeah, overcoming the fact that like, hey, you were laid off, you corporate decided that this wasn't your job had ended, your journey had ended at Rivian, but going and getting back out there and trusting people who trusted me to lead me on the next path of my journey has been an amazing gift. And I'm so blessed that I've been able to take this journey. I didn't have to go back to work immediately, and I would just let this find me. And then, yeah, since then, it's just been making sure I'm making the right decisions for my business, making sure that I'm taking on the right clients and investing my energy in the right places and making sure that I'm doing things that make sense. I don't get distracted from the main goal here. I mean, being an entrepreneur has its own challenges. And if you asked me last week what my challenges were, they're different than this week. And last month was in a totally different arena. So that's how I got to where I am. And I would say a relatively significant challenge that I've overcome. But yeah, here I am.
And it's not easy. You should be 10 times more great, like proud of yourself for doing all of,
Oh,
because it's really difficult. Like I'm doing it with, like, I say my child, which is my cat, but you're doing it with an actual human being, like they have to take care of on the side, like full time. Like talk about the second shift.
oh, by the way, sorry. I was a stay-at-home mom with him while running the business until 2 months ago.
Oh dang.
So by the time I realized like, hey, we should probably get childcare at least a little bit. Cause right now I have all of our grandparents, not our grandparents, all of the all of our parents, very close to us. And they all are amazing in terms of helping and everything. We can't dump our kid on granny 5 days a week, Monday.
Yeah.
We finally got 3 days a week daycare. But by the time I organized that, it was May and she was like, oh, I only have an August start date. Okay, fine. Like we'll do it. And my husband also doesn't work traditional 9 to 5. So he's home a lot. Sometimes he's not home, but sometimes he's like home for a few days in a row. So I've had a lot of help, but yeah, I was also just to add to that, like a single mom, sometime full-time mom for 18 months.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a lot to juggle. And like you said, every single day is a different fire you have to put out. Like one day you're like, oh, I finally got this. I got everything under control. And then the next day you're like, everything's upside down. And you're like, what the heck? Like, what's going on?
I do believe a lot more in like astronomy these days or astrology. Then like something, it has to be cosmic. Like something cosmic is happening right now because I can't explain it otherwise.
You don't even understand how many times I've blended on our second moon that we have right now. Like,
It's true, yeah.
I was like, it has to be that damn asteroid that's circling the Earth right now. It's like,
Or Mercury was in retrograde for a while, just came out a couple weeks ago.
yep, yep.
Like it has to be. It's not me.
It can't be, right?
Yeah, and I think the parenting version of that is like sleep regressions.
Oh yeah.
Is like there's something happening.
Oh yeah, for sure. No, but that's an amazing story. And like you are a success story because not many people can go through it. The statistics of how many businesses actually make it to year three is insane. And the statistics of like how many quit within 6 months to a year is even bigger. So
Mhm.
that you're like almost gonna hit your year mark in like what, couple months? That's amazing.
Oh my god, I might cry.
You should definitely give, like, I've seen those cute like celebratory cakes that people do, like happy birthday business.
Oh, I love that. I'm also a baker. I might just make myself a cake. And
You
I just
probably should.
rebranded so it'll be purple and beautiful.
I love that. I love that. I can't wait to see the posts and I'll be celebrating on the side.
Oh, now I'm gonna do it.
You should. You should. Love it. And with all of this that's going on, and we talked about all the stressors that you have because of a business
Mhm.
owner, being a mom, and having all the other hats that you're wearing, how do you balance it all where you can still manage yourself, not get severely burnt out, and just give up?
Yeah, it's hard. It really is hard. And I think as sole entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, we do so much. We do all of our marketing. We go out and meet people all the time. I think September, I don't know how many people I met. I must have met like over 200 people just in the month of September. And that was email follow up. That was all of that stuff. It was absolutely bonkers. It's hard. At one point, remember I was talking to my husband and I was saying, I'm at 120% all the time. I'm at 120% at work in my business. I'm 120% momming because he's a pilot. So there's some days that he's gone for like 3 or 4 days, and some days some weeks where he's home for 2 weeks. Like it
Yeah.
just, and that was like a particularly difficult month or whatever. And I was like, I'm on all the time. So it is hard. What I've learned and what I also tell people is, and I think we were talking about this earlier, is asking for help is a sign of strength.
Mm-hmm.
And I would not be able to do what I've done if I didn't have the support around me to be able to do that. And that looks like, number one, an amazing partner who has been my number one cheerleader, number one advocate, believes in me more than I do some days, always there, always trying to help and support wherever he can. That's number one. Number two, we made the decision when we started thinking about having a family to move back here to where all of our parents are. And so I have basically 4 different support points for if we need somebody to watch our son or to play with him, because I have a call and I could probably stick him in front of the TV and he'd be fine, but he has so much love around him. And also that looks like, excuse me, that looks like asking for help for my business. So I found a business consultant who I've worked with. She referred me to a marketing consultant that helped me with my website and my rebrand and everything. So for me, it really looks like asking for help. There was a networking event that I usually go to as a monthly thing, I told a friend about it, and I'm happy I did that because she's not like a solopreneur or anything. She doesn't have her own business, but having her there and having her come with me was just a helpful thing, because I was like, I really didn't want to go, but I was like, she's going to be there. We'll go together. We'll go to get something to drink afterwards. We'll have a good time. And having that support all around me, I realized that I'm really, really blessed and fortunate to be able to have that, because not everybody does. But I literally, if I were to have my own very successful business and have employees where I would be giving salaries, I would give all those people salaries because I wouldn't be where I am without them.
Mm-hmm. No, it's something that people ask me, like, how do you do it all? Like, it's
I
insane.
don't.
That's my answer. And I was like, I don't. I'm like you. I think I have like 4 consultants that are helping me right now. Marketing. I have like one for my website, one for my like my packaging, everything. And I'm just like,
Your
yeah.
website is amazing, by the way. I know I've told you this, but if anybody on, like, any of Jaime's listeners have not looked at his website, it's incredible. And if you guys saw the technology behind it, the fact that it's all fully integrated, chef's kiss, beautiful.
Thank you. And that's a lot because of the consultants, because like you should have seen it when I started. Oh, it looked like a 99 cents website. It was not, it was not,
Yeah.
not it. But it's definitely took a lot of like revisions, and it takes a lot. It really does take a community to help you thrive. And whoever is out there who's a business owner saying they did it on their own, nah, BS.
I mean, if you did, then absolutely amazing. But it, just like they say, it takes a village to raise a child, it takes a village to build a business.
Oh yeah, 1,000%. Yeah. And it's hard, but at the end of the day, it's very rewarding knowing that you're doing this. It's because you chose to seek for that help. It's because you chose to invest in yourself and in the people that that believe in you, that you're like, hey, yeah, we got this.
Exactly.
No.
Yeah, and it starts with you, right? You are the mastermind behind it all. Nobody's gonna take that away from you.
Oh yeah, definitely. 1,000%. So what would you say for those individuals that are maybe living their 9 to 5 life and they're like, I've had this dream of opening up my business. Should I do it or should I stay where I'm at?
Oh my goodness. I'm the last person you should ask about that. My dad calls me his conservative banker because my first job was at a bank. I'm so conservative. So what I was saying, if you had told me 2 years ago that I was doing this, I would have been like, you're literally high. No way. I was so terrified of doing this and taking a leap. I didn't even think I was good enough, honestly. It was only when somebody reached out to me and was like, I know your work, I know you do a good job. And I've proved that to myself for a year or over a year at this point. I'm like, oh, I can totally do this. I think you totally can. And the fact that you've been doing whatever you're doing or taking an interest in whatever you've taken an interest for so long is not nothing. It's
Mhm.
very valuable, and your experience is valuable, and your approach, your unique style is all something that you could market. I would say if it's something that you feel really strongly about, go for it. I was pushed into this, but it's great. It's been such a gift. It really has. I can be there for my family. I am here, to be completely honest. Both of those jobs that I worked in corporate were extremely demanding. And maybe one was more time demanding than the other, but the other one was then more emotionally taxing. So they're very demanding in their own ways. And my husband will be the first to tell you that I'm way happier as a solopreneur than I ever was and as an employee. You can do it, go for it, think about what that looks like, and yeah, take that first step. It's scary, but it's awesome.
I love that. I love that piece of advice, and it's so true. Like, even if I'm reflecting on my own journey, like, I've been yes, I'm more stressed, but it's a different type of stress.
It's so different because
And
it's not stress, it's drive.
yeah,
It's drive to do as best as you can for you.
mhm.
And it's like, ah, so it's so beautiful.
Yeah, you're working for yourself, and it's an amazing thing. Like, whenever I make a sale, I'm like, "I did that." Like, wow.
Yeah. I got off the phone with the once, and I had just kind of like upgraded her contract. And it was like Friday afternoon. We were on the way. We're Jewish, so we were going to Shabbat dinner at my mom's or my in laws right after. So like there wasn't really time because I hung up the phone and then we had to like get the food and leave.
Yeah.
And then I was like, told my husband, I was like, oh, by the way, I did this. He's like, that's amazing. And it was like, that's a nice dollar amount. He's like,
Yeah.
why? It just happens. But it's incredible. Yeah.
No, yeah. Like, I remember I was talking to my best friend, and my first ever, like, sale. I was like, "I think I just made $100 today." And she's like, "Are you serious? Somebody paid you $100 for your work?" And I was like, "How many hours are you doing?" I was like, "I'm doing, like, a 30-minute thing." And they're like, "They're paying you $100 for a 30-minute session?" And I was like, "Yeah." Like,
I
"Should I
think
oh."
so.
I was like, "Should I be proud?" Then she's like, "Hell yeah." And I was like, "Okay." And then, like, same friend, I call her months later, like, bummed out. I only made $1,000 this month. And she's like, "You went from 100 that month to 1,000, and now you're, like,
And
tripling."
now you're bummed. Can I tell you, my friend, I have one of my dearest friends. She sent me this video, this like reel on Instagram where it was a girl interviewing herself, but a year from now.
Huh.
So she was like, "Are we still with him? Where do we live now?" And she was like, "No, girl, we broke up with him. We're grown up." And she looked amazing the next year. She's like, "We're grown up. We moved. Look at this. Look at our amazing apartment. Look at the life we lead." And she was like, "Soof, you should do this." And I told her, I was like, "I'm not going to do that because I'm afraid I'm going to disappoint myself." And she's like, "What are you talking about?" I was like, I don't know. Sales have been stagnant. I don't really know. She's like, look at the sentence you're saying. The sentence coming out of your book is amazing. Like you have a sales pipeline. Like you have your own business. Like look at what you're doing. And I'm like, fine, sure.
No,
It's
true.
amazing because I feel like we're our own critics. We're our own worst critics because we know that we could do more if we didn't value sleep, social life,
Yeah.
burnout prevention. Uh, but only we know what else is possible.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And we have to take a step back and really celebrate each milestone because we've gotten so far, and not everybody could do this.
That's true.
If it was easy, everybody would be an entrepreneur. Everybody would be opening up their own business. It's not. It's not easy.
Mhm. It really isn't.
So we're at the time where it's the last question of the podcast, which is my favorite question. What was your unicorn lesson that changed your life for the better?
I'm really excited about this because this is what I was alluding to earlier. And I think I just recently materialized this lesson in my head, like solidified, codified it. And I'm sorry, I'm going to do this long-winded thing, but it came to me. I've been a dancer my whole life. Since I was like 4 and I did the little kiddie dance recitals and then I kept tap dancing till I was 16. And then I've done a bunch of other kind of dance styles and I really just enjoy dancing. But recently I have started going to an adult ballet class, and it's just like beginner ballet. I was never a ballet dancer, but I like the teacher. I like the pace and kind of the vibe of the class. So I've been going, and this one class that I went to, you could tell that there was a new student there. Maybe it was her first or second ballet class, and you could tell she was not super comfortable. She was like moving a little bit awkwardly. She wasn't carrying herself the way you would think. And she kept like looking at herself in the mirror and downing herself and everything. And something that the teacher said, Miss Mary, who's amazing, something she said was, don't be afraid to imagine what a ballerina looks like, moves like in your head, and do that. Don't be afraid to step into that role of how does a ballerina move her arms? How does a ballerina move her head? And that really is the secret to ballet is like you just put on your tutu in your head and you're like, this is how I dance as a ballerina. And it's so true in the professional world, honestly, in anything that you do, but in the professional world especially, because there's a lot of that imposter syndrome,
Mm-hmm.
but it really is just us talking, is imagine what a successful when I was working, what a successful product manager looks like, what a successful CRM looks like. Now imagine to me what a successful business owner, entrepreneur, or CRM expert looks like and manages her business like, and step into that and own it. Because first of all, that's what you are. Because I have, and I'm always running that imposter syndrome thing in my head.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, that's what you are. People actually pay you to do what you do,
Mm-hmm.
and they always tell you that you're really good at it. And you know that too. So step into that role. Put your systems in place so that you're emulating what a CRM expert looks like and runs her business. And that's just for me, but it really applies anywhere. Is don't be afraid to step into that role because in ballet, that's literally what it is like the second you start to move your head and move your arms and in the way that a ballerina is supposed to, even if like you're not a ballerina, you're in the class. That makes all the difference. People start to look at you like that and you start to get the roles, get the lead parts and all that kind of stuff. I think it's stepping into the role of where you want to be and the rest of it will flow naturally
Mm-hmm.
because of who you are as a person, because of the skills that you've been taught and are learning, it will happen.
I love that. I love that so much. And it's so interesting that you said that because I'm supporting a friend and doing acting classes with him right now. Not that I want to become an actor, but I was like, yeah, I'll learn something from it. You never know. And the instructor told us last week, in order to become a successful actor, you need to go into the shoes of the person you're trying to become and not become them, but adapt your behavior so you can become a version of them that still resonates with you.
Mm,
So learn
so
everything that
important.
they would do, but add your own twist to it because it won't come as authentic, and that's where the imposter syndrome comes out. Because you're thinking, like you said, if I can't see myself doing this or act like this self, then I'm thinking I'm not good enough. But you are doing it. But don't forget to add your personality and yourself into it too.
That's so true because I can point to certain pitches or one pitch specifically that I lost because I was acting the way I thought a salesperson
Hmm.
should act and building a pitch the way I thought a salesperson should pitch. Yes, but not taking into account my personality and who I am and my brand and how that's supposed to shine through more so than than the position.
Exactly. And it's hard to do because you see all these
Mhm.
people on Instagram, on like TV and stuff, and you're like, I want to be like them, so I'm gonna mimic
Mhm.
style, but it's never gonna work because that's not your style. Do the things that they're doing, reach the success that they have reached, but do it in your own way.
Totally. Totally. That's the balance. That really is.
Yep. Yep. Well, this has been such an amazing conversation. I can talk to you for probably like another 5 hours, but we do need to wrap up. So, last question. I promise. If somebody wants to work with you, follow your journey, or hire you to help them with their CRM needs, how can they do so?
First of all, I just want to say thank you for having me, Dr. Hyman. This has been so fun and so great. And I feel like every time I talk to you, I feel like I get my own little coaching session now. So I appreciate it. If people want to get in touch with me, it's very, very simple. You can follow me on LinkedIn. My website is soofcrm.com. So just my name, SOOF, CRM.com. I have a little contact form on there. I have buttons all over my website, connect you to my meeting scheduler. So that's how you can find me. I would love to sit and chat. What I typically do if people want to start working with me is I will offer 2 free consultations before we start the project, where I'll give you any information I can give you to be of service, any tips and tricks, best practices I have up my sleeve that might help you if you don't want to work with me and just keep you running for a little bit longer. But I want to make sure that I understand your business, understand what you're doing, where your pain points are, and then we'll take it from there. But yeah, that's me in a nutshell.
Awesome. And for listeners, don't feel like you have to jot all this down. If you scroll down to the show notes, you'll have all the links there. Also, if you go on my website at rainbowcareercoaching.com, go under the Unicorn Wall of Fame, you'll see Soof on there, and she'll be on the new blog with all the things that she talked about today and a little bio about her, so along with the links. Thank you, Soup, so much. And listeners, don't forget, episodes come out every Friday at 7 a.m. And don't forget to apply this week's unicorn lesson into your life. Thank you so much.
Thank you.